Hey guys, so here's your guys' practice test for the week 10 exam, okay? So the first couple of you guys are rational expressions. So if we take a look at like question number 1, so when we deal with rational expressions, adding or subtracting, gotta get a common denominator. So this side, we're gonna multiply by this denominator. So top and bottom multiply by 3k, and on the other side multiply top and bottom by this one because that's the denominator it's missing. So k plus 1 top and bottom. So that 6 you're going to distribute to both, and this 2 you're going to distribute it to just that one. So they're both now going to be in the same fraction or the same common denominator of 3k times k plus 1. And now distribute 6 times k, 6k, 6 times 1 is 6. 2 times 3k is 6k, and then you guys simplify the top by combining like terms. These are two that we can combine, so we get 12k plus 6 all over 3k times k plus 1. Now remember, when you guys get to here, once you have simplified as much as you can from combining it to be one fraction, you should factor the top if you can, just in case some things might cancel. So you can factor out a 6. And then if you guys look, top and bottom, you can divide the 6 and the 3 both by 3. So I'll have 2 times 2k plus 1 over k times k plus 1. And the one that matches with that one, you guys, is D. Because you guys distribute the 2 to both of these, and it'll just match up with that one. Number 2. So again, we have to get them to be the same common denominator. So this side needs an x minus 4, and this side needs an x plus 4. Now this 5 gets you distribute this 5 to both of the ones up top, right? This, do not forget that minus sign with that 2. That negative 2 distributes to both right there. So it's all going to be underneath the same common denominator. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 4 is 20. Negative 2 times times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 4, you guys, is positive 8. Combine like terms up top, we'll get 3x plus 28 all over x minus 4 and x plus 4. Can't factor this anymore, right? So this is as simplified as we can get. So that means your answer, you guys, would be D. It'd be D. Okay, number 3. Alright, so first of all, this is division, everyone, okay? That's division, so you can't have division, so you gotta do KCF. You gotta keep this, flip this, take the reciprocal of that. So keep, change, flip. We're gonna keep this one, change the division to multiplication, and flip, take the reciprocal of the whole right-hand side. So once you guys get this, now you just have to factor. We can factor all these 3. Factor out an 8 from here to get x minus 3. Factor out 8x from there to get x plus 2. And this is a trinomial factoring. So the two things that multiply to 16 when you add to give you 10, that's x plus 8 and x plus 2. Okay, and now you guys start your cancellation. X minus 3s can cancel. 8 and the 8 can cancel. And the x plus 2 and x plus 2 can cancel. So all you're left with is x over x plus 8, which is B. Number 4, same deal, yeah? So because there's a division sign, you gotta keep, change, and flip it. Keep, change the division and multiplication, and flip this side. And now you guys do your factoring. And you guys can actually factor all 4. So what two things multiply to 28, but when you add it gives you -11, that's -7 and -4. What two things multiply to 9, but when added give you 10, that's k plus 9 and k plus 1. This is a difference of squares factoring, right? So square root both of those, you get k plus 7, k minus 7, and what two things multiply to -36, but when added give you 5, that is k plus 9 and k minus 4. Now you guys cancel. The k minus 7s cancel. The k minus 4s cancel. And the k plus 9s cancel. So all you guys have is k plus 1 all over k plus 7, which is D. That's going to be D. Okay. Number 5. So this is solving rational equations, right? So to start these ones, you guys, first we have to factor every single denominator. So what two things multiply to 8, but when adds -6, that's n minus 4 and n minus 2. Now write down what n cannot be. So we know n can't be 2 and it can't be 4. It cannot be the values that make these 0, right? If you plugged in 4 into here, that would be 0. If you plugged in 2 into there, that would be 0. So can't have a denominator where it's 0. Okay, then we multiply the whole entire thing by the LCD. So n minus 4 times n minus 2, we multiply to each one. Okay, so when you guys multiply these two, these would cancel, right? So all you're left with is this n minus 4 and this n minus 4. So that side is just n minus 4 times n minus 4. When you guys multiply this one to this one, both the n minus 4 and n minus 2 cancel. So all you're left with is the 2n. And when you guys multiply this one to this one, the n minus 2's cancel. So all that's left is the n minus 4 and the negative negative sign with the n plus 4. So minus n plus 4 times n minus 4. So we need to do these double distributions in two different locations. N squared minus 4n plus 16 equals 2n. Make sure that's all in parentheses. N squared minus 4n plus 4n minus 16. So if you guys combine like terms, we'll get n squared minus 8n plus 16. These cancel. So on the inside of that bracket, it's n squared minus 16. And I put that in bracket, you guys, so that you don't forget you need to distribute that negative to both of those. So what we really have is this. And then to solve, because we have a power of 2 on both sides, right? We should probably set the whole equation equal to 0. So I'm going to add n squared over there. I'm going to subtract 2n from there, and I'm going to subtract 16 from there. Since all of these will cancel, so all we have is 2n squared minus 10n equals 0, and now we factor. We can factor out a 2n. So n equals 0, and n equals to 5. And you have to make sure that they don't correspond to this, right? So it doesn't, so as a result, n equals 0 and 5 will be our answer, which is part C. If any of these two matched up with this, then it would be an extraneous solution, which then you would cross off, right? Number 6. So same deal. We gotta factor the denominators, so we can factor an x out from both. So we know x can't be 0 coming from this one, and x cannot be 3. And we multiply everything by the LCD of x times x minus 3. So if you guys multiply this to this, everything cancels, so all you're left with is that up top. So it's going to be x squared minus 2x minus 8. This times this, you guys, these cancel, so all you have left is just a 1. And this times this, you guys, the x's cancel, so all you have is x minus 1 and the x minus 3 left over. And this is where we gotta do a double distribution. X squared minus 3x minus x plus 3. Combine like terms on that side. And we got x squared minus 4x plus 4. So I'm going to subtract x squared from both you guys. And notice those both cancel, right? So all we have left is this. And we should get variables on one side and constants on the other. Because the thing I notice is that the highest degree we see on either side is just degrees of 1. So variables on one side, constants on the other, and then we can just solve for x by dividing both sides by 2. The correct answer would be A for that one. It'd be 6. Okay, number 7. So this, you guys, we have to simplify this. So the only one we can really simplify is this one. So break down your tree by getting all its factors. Because it's an index of 3, we're looking for triplets. So triplets, no triplet, no triplet. So 2 cube root of 3 plus 3 cube root of 4. I just rewrote that stuff, you guys. This triplet of 3's come on the outside. So negative 3 times the triplet of 3's, that's negative 9. Cube root of the 2 leftovers, 2 times 2 is 4. So we can combine these because they have the same root and same index and the same radicand. So 2 cube root of 3 minus 6 cube root of 4, which is A. That would be number A right there, you guys. Number A. Okay, number 8. So here we gotta simplify each one, and notice they're all square roots, you guys. So index of 2, which means we're just looking for pairs. 9 and 6, 3, 3, 3, 2, 4 and 6, 2, 2, 2, 3. Pairs, leftover, leftover, pairs, leftover, leftover. And that one's already simplified. So again, bring your pair to the outside with that negative sign. So negative 3 red. 3 times 2 is 6. This set of 2's times it by negative 3, right? So negative 6 square root of 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 3 rad 2. And because these have the same radicand, we can combine only those. So negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9 rad 6 plus 3 rad 2, which would be A. That would be A. 9. So when you guys multiply this stuff together, outside times outside, inside times inside. So this is going to be negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Rad 8 times rad 6. 8 times 6, that's 48. And then break this down. 2 and 24. 4 and 6, 2, 2, 2, 3. And since it's an index of 2, we're looking for twins or pairs, right? Pair, pair. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times negative 15, that's negative 60, with a leftover of 3, rad 3, which is B. Number 10, same deal. Outside times outside, inside times inside. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 3 times 12 is 36. Now, if you notice, isn't rad 36, you guys, a perfect square? And isn't that 6, right? So you could do it that way, or you guys could make your tree pairs of 2's, pairs of 3's, right? And no leftovers, so 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times negative 12 on the negative 2 on the outside, negative 12. So they give you guys the same thing, right? 11. Okay, something I noticed. So one thing you guys could do is you just multiply top and bottom by the square root of the bottom. So Rad 16 all over 5 times. A radical times itself is just a number on the inside. And isn't rad 60, you guys, a perfect square of 4? And then 5 times 8 is 40. And you guys could simplify that by dividing both by 4 for 1/10. So that's one way you guys can do it. The quickest way, or something you guys can notice, is can't you guys divide that rad 2 by rad 8 so that it's just 1 over 5 rad 4, right? And isn't rad 4, you guys, just 2? So that's another way you can spot that. If you guys can simplify the two radicals through division by like simplifying the fraction, then you would take it. If not, you guys can always just multiply top and bottom by rad 8 and then simplify from there. So that one's D. Okay, so when you guys solve for radical equations, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta get rid of the square root by raising both sides to the second power. So n plus 7 equals, these cancel, right? N minus 5 squared, you guys, is n minus 5 times itself, right? Double distribution, n plus 7 equals n squared minus 5n plus 25. Combine like terms, negative 10n plus 25. And because we see a quadratic, we're going to set the whole equation equals to 0. So we're going to move all that over to the right-hand side, and we get this, right? We factor n minus 9 times n minus 2. So that means we have the choices of n equals 9 or n equals 2, right? But we need to check them, right? By plugging them both back in into the original equation. So if you guys plug in 9 into here, 9 minus 5 is 4, right? 9 plus 7 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So that checks out, right? So n equals 9 is definitely one answer. What about n equals 2? 2 minus 5 is negative 3. But when you guys plug into here, 2 plus 7 is 9. Square root of 9 is positive 3. These do not work, which means n equals 2 is extraneous. So your only answer should have just been 9. Should have just been 9. Okay. Number 13. And again, to get rid of the square root, you guys square both sides, because this will cancel with that. 7n minus 21 equals n minus 3 times itself. And you guys gotta do a double distribution. 7n minus 21 equals n squared minus 3n plus 9. Combine like terms on that side for negative 6n plus 9. And because we're dealing with a quadratic, highest degree is 2, we gotta move everything over so that we can set the whole equation equals to 0. So what two things multiply to 30, but when added give you negative 13? That's negative 10, and that's negative 3. So n equals 10 and n equals 3. But of course, we have to check both of these by plugging them back into the original equation. If you plug in 10 into there, 10 minus 3 is 7. If you plug in 10 into here, 7 times 10 is 70. 70 minus 21 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. So that works. If you guys plug in 3, 3 minus 3 is 0. If you guys plug in 3 into here, 7 times 3 is 21. 21 minus 21 is 0. Square root of 0, 0. They both work. So both of these answers should be our answer, which should be D. So that's your guys' radicals. And now let's get to our trig, right? So cosine theta. So we gotta figure out which one. So you guys should definitely use SOHCAHTOA, right? So with this angle, the side length opposite to that, the furthest side length is 16, the furthest side, so that's opposite. The one across from the 90, that's going to be hypotenuse, and the one right next to the angle, that's adjacent. So cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse, and then from here, you guys, you just simplify the fraction. 3/5. So here, you guys just got to utilize your SOHCAHTOA. I'm going to drag this along with us. So we got to identify what's our opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. So in the perspective of this angle, the furthest side length is the opposite. The one across from 90 is the hypotenuse, and the one next to the angle is adjacent. So since we're using tangent, it's opposite over adjacent, so 14 over 2 rad 15. 14 and 2, you can divide both of those by 2 for 7 rad 15. And to get rid of the radical sign, because you must, you gotta multiply top and bottom by itself, to itself. 7 rad 15 times itself is just 15. So that's just gonna be C. Now we get to here, and this is where you guys gotta utilize your Desmos, right? So first, we're solving for the angle. So this side is opposite, the furthest side is opposite, the one next to it is adjacent. So this is tan theta. Again, make sure you guys are utilizing SOHCAHTOA, right? Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so opposite is 3, adjacent is 10. And to solve for the theta, you should do tan inverse to both sides. Theta equals tan inverse of 3 over 10. And if we plug that into our calculator, so wrench, make sure you're in degrees, right? Functions, tan inverse of 3 divided by 10. 16.69, but it's really going to be 16.7, which is going to be B. That's going to be B for us. 17. Okay, we're in the perspective of that angle, right? So this side is adjacent, this is hypotenuse. So the trig that uses A and H is cosine A and H, right? So cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and when we solve for theta, we should do cosine inverse to both sides. Theta equals cosine inverse of 8.8 all over 15. And again, if we plug that into Desmos, right? We plug that into Desmos. Again, make sure you guys are in degrees, right? Cosine inverse of 8.8 divided by 15, which is 54.07, which is rounded to the nearest tens, 54.1. Okay, this one. So this one, we gotta find the side length. So in the perspective of that angle, this side, the furthest side from there is the opposite side, and the one across from the 90 degree is the hypotenuse. So this one's definitely using sine. Sine of 43 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cross multiply, x equals 10 sine 43, and that is the thing we plug into our calculator. 10 sine 43. And make sure you guys are always in degrees, right? So 6.8 will be our final answer. Over here, here's our SOHCAHTOA. In the perspective of this angle, this side's adjacent, this side's hypotenuse. So the one that uses A and H is cosine. Cosine of 50 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Cross multiply. So we get, hypotenuse, that's the x. X cosine of 50 equals 16, and to isolate the x, we gotta divide both sides by cosine of 50. X equals 16 divided by cosine of 50. Oh, what happened to the function? Cosine of 50. 24.9 should be our answer. Round it to the nearest 10th. And the last problem is this one, which is solved for each angle. So first of all, to get the angle, you guys, it's just 180 minus the 90 minus 29 degrees, because a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So we already know this is 61. Now notice, you guys, they use lowercase b and c, right? The reason why they use that is because the opposite of angle B is gonna be, the side length opposite of angle B is gonna be lowercase b. the side length opposite of angle C is going to be lowercase c. So that's why they use that. And now let's find our side lengths, right? So in the perspective of this angle, this is the opposite side, this is hypotenuse, and this is the adjacent. We're always going to be using adjacent because there's information there, right? There's an actual value at that side length. So if we want to use adjacent and the opposite, then that's definitely going to be tangent. So tan of 29 equals opposite, which is b, all over 16. Cross multiply. So b is going to equal to 16 tan 29. Now we're going to use adjacent still because it has information and we want to find now the hypotenuse c. So a and h, which uses cosine. Cosine of 29 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Cross multiply. C cosine 29 equals 16 and divide both sides by cosine 29. So that's what C is going to ultimately be. And if we plug all this into our calculator, 16 tan of 29, there's that, and 16 divided by cosine of 29, we get that. So 8.7, and this one's going to be 18.3, and that's going to be B. Okay, so that sums up your guys' tests. Again, you guys just need to practice and just keep on studying and doing the best you guys can. Okay, good luck everyone. Peace.